series it was, but I remember it being so lovely that we'd come back to it. And here we are. Just a quick look through all of that art. And all this really says is thank you, and Tokidoki means sometimes. I'm pretty sure I remember that correctly, and I do. Alright, my friend. Let's shuffle it up and get ready for our first game of the night. How are you, by the way? I hope well, of course. We'll give it one more, and we'll deal out our first game. Now that's a pretty interesting start. Let's see what's in store for us for our first game of the night. Good start, despite the lack of a play. When we have a start like that, it's nice to know pretty much any red card will lead us to a play. Triple tens. We'll bring back this 3. Oh, that didn't matter. Well, we could still leave it there. And we put it right back. So we have a chance at a fat stack. It seems unlikely, but not impossible. Okay. Ooh, I thought that was a red 3. We need one of those. Can we play this? We cannot. Darn. And I think that ends our first game, as there's nowhere for that 8. King or 7. And no play left bad start to our night. Just couldn't quite finish it out, but lots of plays. Just some doubles in there. So for me, it's been a while since we played our last game. And I guess, is this honesty or is it just sharing? Sharing honestly is a way of doing it, I suppose. But throughout our solitaire journey, I would put unnecessary pressure on myself to be very consistent with our episodes. It reflected most in 500 days in a row with an episode. But even afterwards, it became more of a nice routine. But for sure, just kind of wanting to prove to myself that I could keep the consistency to kind of share time as well with you. So in that, I would probably do, I think, consistently at least 3 episodes a week. And I believe last week I just did the 1. And it's been a week since. And it feels so weird because I have been giving myself a little more time between episodes to work on our deck, amongst other things. And I have to admit, it was nice not having to stay up later than I wanted to, but I think that's mainly because I'm working towards a goal of finishing up or saving up enough from my job to purchase my first home, and that is something that is so exciting in itself. And it's taken quite a bit of time and planning, but I'm just glad to be in a situation to where things look nice. But coming back and starting our episode, in a way, feels like coming back home. Could just be the routine part, but I think it's a nice combination of many other factors. I think this is our 3rd play, so we're gonna play it. And I think that's kind of an anomaly stretch, but if there are times where I am a little more infrequent, just to let you know the reason why. Well, now you know the reason why, but I did my best to be there as consistently as I can. Not to just be consistent for being consistent, but wanting to do it just as much. And it's just a fun thing to realize throughout this journey, as it's taught many things beyond just that. Offers a lot of learning for me, and I think it's very unique as well. Don't worry, I'll wrap it up after this. I think it's very unique because how many other YouTube channels out there have as many videos as this one, with the very narrow subject matter at the moment. And I've been doing it like for a pretty consistent amount of time. There are many, but it just feels like relax momentarily. I think it's easy, too, when this comes out during the summertime, to be a little more lax. For me, during the summer, I don't have much of a celebratory family, but the immediate family that's here, all summer birthdays, and then I am the outlier, so 555's days can blend fairly quickly. And since this will be my last summer here living, as I have until I move across country, I'm giving it more conscious time and energy, as we have nowhere for that queen or 8. I think we might be done. 5, 6. Can't get to the 6 of spades because it doesn't exist on our field. And with that, we move on to game number 3. Oh, another cool thing. I think about a week or 2 ago, asked about the most recent movie you've seen, and one of you reminded me of that terrible sounding movie. But it's very interesting. I saw Citizen Kane in theaters for the first time I've seen it, and I understand why. It's highly regarded. That was an interesting experience. And the next game. Oh, something neat for myself. In this very busy summer so far, I have found time to practice the stuff I like, and it's nice not feeling my best physically, in certain points I should say, but then again, feeling maybe the more athletic I've been in a good while, and having numbers to back it up is a fun thing. My arm strength has increased pretty consistently, pretty easily. So I wonder if before I leave I'll get to that 90 mph plus threshold for throwing on a flat ground. Ooh, are we gonna get shut out? We may have gotten shut out. Nowhere for that 2. 10. 3. 8. King. 8. 3, and we did in fact get shut out. 9. A reverse perfect game. It's been a good while since that happened to us. So for that, we're going to take this to blind draw now. Triple sixes. Make that a set of sixes, triple nines, and triple queens. Bummer. But it's been nice to find the things that really make me happy. And I told myself I think this a day or two ago, but something I do selfishly is practice and play baseball. And it's so nice. I've had such an interesting relationship with it throughout my life. But when it comes down to it, it could be a very, very learning process. And it requires a lot of patience to become better than good. But what I'm glad I've been able to do is have the opportunity to work on pitching, catching a little bit. I'm not a natural catcher whatsoever, but developing that athleticism. And then hitting. That is one of my best forms of self-care / therapy. And as opposed to when I was younger, I have highly optimized my time in my practice to where it would be just me in a bucket with a tee for about 2 to 3 hours in a cage, to where now I have an entire wagon to where I don't have to pick up as much. A larger bunch of balls makes it faster to pick because all the balls are in one area. So a higher quantity just makes it fit that better tempo for me and less breaks. And over my time practicing, I have accumulated over 300 baseballs that are good for hitting in my wagon. Sounds so silly. And that's let me be okay. That's enabled me to be content second that I might have played the king too soon. And we are on the verge of our second fat stack. Potentially. And it would seem that we are at the end, as there's nowhere for that 8, 4, 9, or 8. We gain a fat stack. And I think we move on to game number 5. Triple aces doing the damage. You know what? I would appreciate if you answered this question, but obviously, if you're just relaxing, just answer in your head. What is something that makes you happy? And it could be anything. Because sometimes, Tokidoki, it's just good to share that with someone, or just say it out there. It could be something as simple as a morning cup of coffee or a glass of milk before bed. It could be watching the sun rise or set to open or close a day. It could be that feeling of being half awake as you shamble to the restroom, trying to make sure you fall back asleep after you return to your bed. Being with the one or someone you love, whether it's a friend, family, or other pet. Whether it's playing a game with your friends or on your own. Doing one of your hobbies, arts and crafts. Watching something, just let me know. Or just think about it. And if you haven't in a while, try finding some time to do that soon for yourself. I always feel like such a dork when I feel I sound preachy. Because I'm very self-aware pretty quickly about it. But I still want to communicate my thoughts, and I like to be a bit thorough. More often than not, as we play 3 cards from our hand, as we await another play. Our second fat stack of the night this our third play because we've made so many. It's easy to lose track. Ace. And our third fat stack of the night, as we have nowhere for that jack. Let's see if we can do anything. And quickly the answer is no, without the 2 of spades. But 3-card draw has led us to some fat stacks. Right as we shuffle up, I'd like to finish a thought, or add a thought, and then get into our decorating. I think, as we've gotten later into our journey, I've become, I guess, more vocal about, I guess, internal feelings and thoughts and expressions. For many factors, but I think the big one being is just accepting that if for myself I try to act in a way to where if it doesn't bring harm to anybody, then why not do it? And that's helped heal a lot within myself, those around me, and it just led me to be much more content with myself. And a larger part too is the more people I talk to and come across, it's very interesting talking to them and their experiences, and how deep down a lot of people are just lonely and hurt. But more often than not, a lot of people are just doing their best. And that's admirable in its own. So when I get into my feelings of feeling preachy, I just know there's a point to where I wish triple jacks. I would have listened a bit more to some people I trusted in life, or who had good intentions unknowingly, and having those types of people around me more as opposed to the negative. That's not a bad start. We'll keep with the 3-card. And yeah, it may sound corny, but it's better to hear it than not to hear it. If it's positive, especially if it feels awkward. Because I could have accepted and grown much earlier, more consistently, and easier if that were the case. But a lot of things are just out of our control. And on that, we'll wrap that thought up and get into this decorating. So pretty much standard in durability and handling. No complaints, and since third play, this deck has a lot of positive features. That is a plus. And our third play once again. Back art. A nice variation on the standard bicycle design. Nothing too much, but enough to notice. And then the front of the cards are the strong suit. Each card with unique art, even though it does have a correct way, there are enough to where it doesn't matter. For example, like how some cards only do a special ace, there is one right way, and if that is the case on the field, it just doesn't look right, but since everything is done well, it is enhanced. Great art. Standard feels so great in durability, handling, art, presentation, theme. I think this is probably the best feeling one yet of our other Tokidoki decks. Alright, it's around a 9 right now. Why is it above a 9? Why is it not above a 9? It's above a 9 because everything is well balanced and complements well. And the only reason I could think why it's not above a 9 is the art not being the same direction each way. But that would make it lose some of the charm, so it's above a 9. Besides the art, the back design is a little lacking to be well into a 9. There's nothing that is wowing besides the art potentially. 7, 8, 4, 4, nowhere to go. A good game, but we fall just a little bit short. So not 9.25 for sure, but definitely noticeably above a 9. Teetering at the halfway point between 9 and 9.25. I think because that lack of a wow and a couple greats, it'll fall just below the split of 9.25 barely. So I'll give this a 9.11. reset our luck. 10. And I believe our fourth fat stack of the night. Show us a king. Can't do much about that. But it works. And our third play. Here's where things get tricky. And I think a bit tragic. Nowhere for that 3, and nowhere for that second 3. Without the 2 of spades, we cannot place the 3 of clubs. Without the 2 of hearts, we cannot play the 3 of diamonds. Oh, so close. Well, my friend, I think that is a fairly fitting way to wrap up our night. Let's see the final 8 cards that kept us from doing a little bit more. Can't do much about that. A little bit of everything in there. Well, my friend, we are officially 1 step closer to 1,000. I hope you enjoyed. You know I did. Please have yourself a relaxing remainder